All right, let's talk about the one thing, the one habit that consistently separates the world's most successful traders from, well, everyone else. And nope, it's not some crazy complex algorithm or a secret indicator they're hiding. It's actually way more fundamental than that. Let's dive in.
So, let me ask you a question, and be honest. Have you ever made the exact same costly mistake in your trades over and over again, and you just can't figure out why? It's got to be one of the most frustrating feelings in trading, and believe me, it's way more common than you think.
And here's what's so wild. When you actually analyze the habits of traders, this huge, bright, dividing line just shows up. The vast majority of traders who are consistently profitable, they keep detailed journals. Most of the traders who are unsuccessful, they just don't. And this isn't a coincidence. It's a fundamental difference in their professional process.
So why is this one little habit so critical? Well, it all comes down to what we can call the trader's blind spot. See, the problem isn't always about a lack of knowledge or skill. It's about the complete absence of a feedback loop.
Think about it like this. It's like a pilot trying to figure out what went wrong after a really rough flight, but having zero data from the black box. It would be pure guesswork, right? Well, when you trade without a journal, you're doing the exact same thing. You're flying blind. You have no reliable data to look back on, which pretty much dooms you to repeat the same errors.
Okay, so let's pivot from the problem to the solution. This is where the pros take that blind spot and turn it into a massive advantage. They use a systematic playbook to constantly fine-tune their performance.
And at the heart of that playbook is the trading journal. At its core, it's just a systematic log of your actions. But it's not just about writing down numbers. It's about creating a database of your own behavior, so you can track what's actually happening, spot your unique psychological patterns, and, this is the big one, learn from every single outcome, whether it was a win or a loss.
But really, it's so much more than a simple list. Think of it as your personal analytics engine. It helps you see, objectively, which of your strategies are actually profitable and which ones are just, emotional gambles. It turns every single trade, especially the losers, into a structured lesson. This is how you systematically, methodically get better over time.
Okay, so you get the why, but what about the how? Let's get practical and talk about building your own blueprint. And the good news is, it's a super clear and manageable process. You can totally do this.
So the source material lays out 6 essential data points to track. The first 4 are kind of the basics, right? The what, why, how, and the result. But points 5 and 6, man, this is where the real magic happens. Tracking your emotions, were you feeling greedy, fearful, impatient? That exposes the psychological triggers that might be secretly sabotaging your decisions. And that last step, lessons learned, forces you to actually reflect and create a concrete rule for the next time.
And look, the crucial point here is that while those 6 things are the foundation, detail is your best friend. Seriously, add screenshots of your charts. Make notes about what the overall market was doing that day. The richer the data, the more powerful your analysis is going to be down the road.
And that brings us to maybe the most important step of all. The one that honestly most traders skip. Just logging your trades, that's not enough. The real work, the real improvement happens in the review.
The source material puts it pretty bluntly, and it's worth just letting this sink in for a second. A journal without review is useless. That's it. It's like collecting a whole library of books you never, ever read. The data has zero value until you actually sit down and analyze it.
So what does a good review session actually look like? It's a simple, repeatable process. First, you have to set aside dedicated time every week to go through your trades. And you're not just looking at P&L, you're a detective. You're hunting for clues. Like, hey, do I consistently give back my profits on Friday afternoons? Do I tend to break my rules every time I trade this one particular stock? These are the exact patterns the journal screams out at you. And then you take those findings and you adjust your plan for the week ahead. And when you do all this, it leads to the final and maybe the most profound benefit of a trading journal. It's more than just a performance tool. It becomes a tool for radical self-awareness.
I mean, this slide says it all, doesn't it? We all have this idea in our head of how good we are as a trader. Our brains are wired to remember the big wins and kind of conveniently forget that string of small, annoying losses. A journal doesn't have an ego. It shows you the unfiltered, sometimes brutal reality of your performance, all based on cold, hard data. And ultimately, that's the journal's greatest power. It forces you to be accountable to your own plan, your own rules, and your actual results.
It just strips away all those comforting stories we tell ourselves after a bad trade and replaces them with objective truth. And that truth is the only real foundation for lasting improvement.
So here's the final thought. A trading journal is basically a mirror. It shows you the unvarnished truth of your actions and their consequences. The only question left to ask is, are you ready to look,